The 2024 Giants were a football team. One of complete high-end talent and just absolute disastrous football from every way, shape, or form. What we witnessed this season was not a football team. It was a complete clown show by every single metric, the ultimate Murphy's Law type of season. You may ask how this team was once a perennial contender, but if you really want the answers to those questions, we're going to have to go all the way back to the beginning. One time where things were simpler and the New York Giants were not giving up on their franchise players. All the way back to the beginning of a new regime.
The New York Giants 2021 season was a disgrace. Going into their Week 18 game, they're going up against the Washington Commanders. As they're rolling out their third quarterback, starting again for the Giants, Jake Fromm, as Daniel Jones, who has been injured since Week 12 with a neck injury, and Mike Lennon, who's been absolutely atrocious, who also was injured for that final game. Guys like Saquon Barkley and Kenny Golladay were underperforming. The defense was average at best, and Joe Judge was absolutely disgraceful. Let's roll the clip and see what happened in this Week 18 Washington Commander game, or whatever they're called at the time.
7. And Jacksonville with a 10-3 advantage on the Colts. Steelers lead Baltimore. A couple of scores will all be updated at the half. Interesting formation.
I mean, really, you're at the 4-yard line, and you don't feel comfortable enough in your offense to be able to run a traditional play. I mean, I get the first one when you put yourself kind of backed up inside the 1-yard line.
I mean, this is sad.
I mean, that is just a complete lack of confidence in faith of your offense to be able to execute coming off your end line.
Really, John Mara? Really? A 3rd and 9, a QB sneak in your own territory? I know you need range for you to get a punt off, but you have really no belief in your offense. You're not even at the 1-yard line. Like, okay, maybe the first time, like the announcer said, I get it, but come on. Also, you're giving these fans a free medium Pepsi. They're getting a free medium Pepsi for being treated like this? This is an absolute disgrace, John Mara. And what you put on the field with Joe Judge, Dave Gettleman getting treated like this for all 4 years. I know Joe Judge wasn't the coach for 4 years, but just with this play call, he needs to be fired right now. Before we continue, let's hear what New York Giants coach Joe Judge has to say.
Now, you guys ain't been in the building for 2 years now with this coach. All right, but I'll tell you right now. All right, if you're in the damn building, you walking through our locker room, you ain't seen that crap you saw before. All right, you ain't seeing guys right now planning vacations. You ain't seeing golf clubs in front of players' locker. You ain't seeing that stuff. Okay, you ain't seeing that. Right, and that's not because of some high school program we're cracking with. That's because our guys understand how to play together as a team and they understand the process of helping.
After this disaster of a season, John Mara finally had enough, as Dave Gettleman quote-unquote retired and Joe Judge was thrown into the Hudson River. A new regime was ready to come in, and John Mara had to explore what regime could fix this team back to the old New York Giant glory days. John Mara searching for his general manager wasn't easy, but it came down to 2 candidates: Adam Peters, the assistant general manager for the San Francisco 49ers, and Joe Schoen, the assistant general manager for the Buffalo Bills. As the man of the hour that John Mara has chosen was Joe Schoen, and who Joe Schoen brought in with him to be his next head coach? Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. So basically Buffalo Bills ties, but out of New York Giants office executives. When you're a new GM, you have to clean up your old, let's say, GM's mess if you're a GM that was fired. As Joe Schoen kind of had to clean up Dave Gettleman's mess. The Giants were low in cap, and there's a lot of veterans on this team that were either overpaid or just didn't fit with the team. You had to cut guys like Logan Ryan and Kyle Rudolph to start the offseason. And after the NFL draft, you had to cut guys like James Bradbury and Blake Martinez to get at least out of a hole. So the New York Giants had to pick up some guys to kind of revitalize this team. They had the 5th and 7th overall pick, but what they did in free agency was very odd. They picked up Mark Lewinsky on a 3-year, $18 million deal. They signed John Feliciano, a former Buffalo Bill that came here basically with Brian Daboll. And they signed Jahad Ward, who was their backup pass rusher in that year, and a guy who was kind of a leader. After a disgraceful season is the new front office's first test. as going into the NFL draft with picks number 5 and number 7, let's see what the front office does with pick 5.
New York Football Giants select Kayvon Thibodeau, defensive end, Oregon.
The Giants drafted a guy that was rumored to go number 1. A good start for Joe Schoen for now, but can they do it again at pick 7?
The 7th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Evan Neal, tackle, Alabama.
The Giants draft 2 guys in Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau that some people had in their mock drafts going number 1 in the NFL draft. But the rest of the Giants draft was very average at best, and a lot of the guys were known as reaches at most of their slots at their picks. But we move to training camp. Training camp starts, and the Giants have low expectations on the season. But it cannot be lower after the Giants were rumored to shop Kadarius Toney. But what Joe Schoen says in this clip would actually surprise you.
Yeah, I said Kadarius had a good week. It was good to see him. Jumped right in and chugging along.
Have you shut the door on trying to trade him?
We were not shopping Kadarius Toney. Just reflect on what I just said. Yeah.
The Giants start this season playing the 2021 AFC number 1 seed Tennessee Titans. The Giants were not favored in this game as the Titans were ready to try to compete for another postseason appearance. Giants score a big TD, Jones to Myrick, and get the 2 after Saquon makes a couple of moves to convert. The Giants have the lead 21-20. Then Randy Bullock goes out to kick. Giants look like they're going to start 0-1 for another year, as the Giants would lose a hard-fought game, right?
Rookie Ryan Stonehouse, the holder. The kick by Bullock is on the line. It is no good. He missed it to the left, and the Giants leave a season opener.
Randy Bullock misses the field goal, and the Giants are going to start 1-0 for the first time since 2016. Some similarities to 2016 after starting 1-0, right?
Hey, everybody, let's have some fun. You only live but once, but when you're dead, you're done. So let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Don't care whether you're young or old. I'll let the good times roll. Don't sit there mumbling and talking trash. If you want to have a ball, you gotta spend some cash. So let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Don't care whether you're young or old. I'll let the good times roll. Hey, Mr. Landlord, lock all the doors. When the cops come around, tell them the joint's been closed. So let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Don't care whether you're young or old. I'll let the good times roll. Town, got $1 and a quarter and I'm raring to clown. But don't let nobody play me cheap. I got $50 more than I'm gonna keep. So let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Don't care whether you're young or old. I'll let the good times roll. It makes no difference if it's rainy weather. Birds of a feather must stay together. So come on, all you swingers, and let the good times roll.
The New York Giants start 6-1 after beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 23-17, weeks before they had stunning wins versus the Packers and Ravens, as Dable and Shane looked like future guys to run this organization. But the Giants made a shocking move. After the Giants lost in Week 8 to Seattle, they traded their 2021 first-round wide receiver Kadarius Toney for a 3rd and 6th round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs. Giants fans had mixed emotions about Tony at that time, but Tony was known as a locker room cancer around the team. The Giants, since Week 8, have a record of 1-4, dropping 3 of their last 4, and their non-loss being a tie. Giants were still in the playoffs but on the cusp of missing them. This week was a must-win week versus the Washington Commanders, as their tie came against the Washington Commanders. A win would mean the Giants would most likely make the postseason, but a loss would be one of the worst collapses in franchise history if they don't make the postseason. The Giants' offense starts slow, but in the start of the second quarter, Kayvon Thibodeau strip sacks Taylor Heineke and scores. The Giants lead 7-3. Then, right before halftime, on a Wildcat formation, Saquon scores from 5 yards out to give the Giants the lead 14-3 at the half. Things were looking good, but for the second half, the Giants started out slow as the Commanders scored a TD with Jahan Dotson and missed the PAT. Both teams trade field goals after that, but big Dexter Lawrence forced fumble gets the Giants the ball back later in the fourth. The Giants drive down the field and settle for another field goal. The Commanders were driving, but Kayvon Thibodeau tackles Taylor Heineke, who was scrambling towards the end zone a yard short of the end zone. With Terry McLaurin not being set, the Commanders have to move back to the 6-yard line. Then, on 4th down, the Giants get a stop, as people talk about the missed pass interference, but Kayvon Thibodeau also got hit in the face on that play, so it really should have been offsetting penalties. The Giants pull off a stunning win versus the Washington Commanders 20-12 as they get their 8th win on the year. After a brutal Christmas Eve loss to the Minnesota Vikings 27-24, the Giants had a chance to clinch the playoffs for the first time since 2016 versus the Indianapolis Colts. As the Giants win 38-10 versus the Colts, as is the Giants' first playoff appearance since the 2016-2017 season. It's playoff time, as the Giants have a big matchup versus the 13-4 Minnesota Vikings. The Giants start this game letting the Vikings score, as a QB sneak by Kirk Cousins makes the Vikings lead go up 7-0. Then, the Giants drive down the field as Saquon scores a big touchdown, as the Giants tie this game at 7. Then, the Giants get a stop, and they go down the field. Jones to Hodgins, touchdown Giants, they lead 14-7. Another stop by the Giants as they go down the field and settle for 3, but the Vikings go right back before the half as KJ Osborne scores to make this game 17-14 New York. The start of the third quarter, the Giants get a big touchdown by Daniel Bellinger, so now it would be 24-14 New York. Giants up by 10 in a playoff game? Feels really optimistic being the Giants right now, right? But Minnesota's defense comes up big, and they stop the Giants' offense from doing nothing at all. Minnesota's defense comes up big as they stop the Giants' offense from doing nothing at all, as Irv Smith touchdown and a field goal ties it at 24. But the Giants' offense goes back to their old ways like they were in the first half, as Saquon scores from 3 yards out for his second touchdown of the game. The Giants lead 31-24. The Giants get a big stop on defense, but right when everything looks good for the Giants, Darius Slayton has a clean slate of grass. He drops the ball, so it stops the clock for Minnesota. So now it's a big final drive for the Vikings. What do? They get stopped. As Cousins faces pressure, Xavier McKinney tackles TJ Hawkinson because Cousins was forced to dump it due to Dexter Lawrence's pressure. And the Giants get their first playoff win since Super Bowl 46. After an improbable victory, the Giants play the number 1 seed Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round as they get demolished 38-7. But Giants fans were very optimistic on the season as they feel they have a future with Shane and Dable running this team. Sometimes a great season leads to a not-so-great offseason, as this is where the Giants completely fall apart, as they pay Daniel Jones 4 years, $160 million, $81 million guaranteed. And they tag superstar running back Saquon Barkley. If anything, you should have tagged Daniel Jones and signed Saquon Barkley. But they re-signed key guys like Jihad Ward, Darius Slayton, and Isaiah Hodgins. Then the Giants trade a third that they got for Kadarius Toney for an aging, past his prime tight end Darren Waller. But a really good signing the Giants did make was getting inside linebacker Bobby Okereke for 4 years, $40 million. Luck was not on the Giants' side in the 2023 NFL Draft, as all 4 receivers were drafted in a row. Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, and Jordan Addison were all picked back-to-back. So, the Giants select cornerback out of Maryland, Deonte Banks. Then, in round 2, they go get their center in John Michael Schmitz. But in round 3, the Giants finally get their wide receiver as they take Jalen Hyde out of Tennessee. The rest of the draft wasn't so good, as this draft turned out to be one of the worst, probably the worst, so far out of the Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll era. The Giants are riding high after a playoff win last season. They are opening up their season versus the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. The game kicks off, and the Giants have a good first drive. Then, a bad snap happens, and the Giants had to settle for a field goal. Still not a bad start, right?
Field turf surfaces. Graham Gano, the veteran, 36 years old.
A really bad start by this Giants team versus their rival. It might be just one game, but this is like freshman versus varsity team in football. This was just embarrassing and just a bad show out for Brian Daboll and George Schoen.
First points of the season.
The Giants were set to take on the Arizona Cardinals in week 2 of the season. They need to bounce back, and oh my god! They're down 20-0. Jeez, this team needs to rebuild right now. I mean, right now. I gotta go run errands. I can't watch.
A few moments later.
28. Gano is set. Snap is good. Kick on its way. Plenty of length, and it is good. Graham Gano hits from 34 yards out, and with 19 seconds to go in the game, the Giants lead it 31-28.
Wait, hold on. They won? Wow. Maybe we are back. This can get our momentum up and start a win streak, right?
Perfect. Samuel, touchdown. This one's picked. Back the other way, Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon cuts back. What a night for the rookie. You think they love him in Seattle? How about 6 points? Touchdown Witherspoon, no flags.
Person that's condemning, commenting on my performance, what does he do? Flip hot dogs and hamburgers somewhere? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'd cut his ass. I would. How dare you? How dare you? These people pay your salary. They pay an obnoxious amount of money to park, an obnoxious amount of money for PSLs, to sit there and watch this pap, and you call them hamburger flippers? What, you're so much better? I'd rather have a guy that's flipping hamburgers blocked than your piece of garbage ass. Who the hell are you to talk to fans like that? You piece of garbage. These Giant fans were here before you, and they'll be here after your sorry ass is cut. What a piece of human trash. And I don't want to hear some apology. I don't want to hear, oh, I was taken out of context. I didn't mean, I don't want to hear, done. I would cut his fat ass.
On first down, a big hole for Achane, still going down the sideline. Devon Achane will take it all the way. Taylor over the top. Can't bring it in. Taron Johnson defends, and the Bills win.
After a heartbreaking loss versus the Bills, 14-9, the Giants start 1-5. Yes, 1-5. Losing their last 4. Not an ideal start for a quote-unquote playoff team. and Jones went down with a neck injury week 5 versus the Miami Dolphins, which he had times before. Giants are playing their little brother, the New York Jets. And Kayvon got a big sack on 4th and 10, and the Giants look like they're going to win. The Giants drive a little more, and it's 4th and 2. The Giants are up 10-7, and you are playing the Jets. Yes, the Jets. And you are in field goal range, you are in enemy territory. This should be easy. But no, the Giants decide to kick a field goal with their injured kicker, Graham Gano, and he misses. The Jets have a slim chance to get in the field goal range. They have Zach Wilson at quarterback. They're in their own territory deep. No way the Jets go down the field and even get in the field goal range versus our top defense. And how Kayvon is playing, Kayvon, end this game, please. Just roll the rest of the game.
Flag is down. Wilson down the middle of the field. Garrett Wilson has it at the 445. Flag is down.
On Thibodeau encroachment. Offside. Defense number 5.
I didn't mean like that, people. What are you doing?
Lawrence is in the backfield. Wilson escapes, throws on the run. He's got him in. First down. Jets have to hurry though. Here we go. Zerline. 35. Kick on the way. And it is good. And we got bonus football in Jersey.
The last thing you want to do is use the fact that you don't have your quarterback in as the excuse.
3rd and 21. DeVito pass deflected. Play clock at 1. Here comes the blitz. Wilson throws. Caught by Garrett Wilson. Flag is down. And he's got the first down.
Wake Martindale's defense.
3rd and 5. Wilson taking a deep shot down the field. And it's incomplete. The flag. Atari Jackson. All over Malik Taylor. Greg Zerline, 33 yards away for the win. Kick out the way. It is good.
This season is over. 2022 is a fluke. This organization just disgusts me.
1 week later.
6. Playing the Raiders. Can this just get any worse? I'm done. I'm just done now. I'm done. We just extended him, and now he's out for the season. And now it's a major injury, and it's not even his neck. I don't care how bad he is. It will be an excuse for next year. This is just annoying. He was awful this year. 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and Giants fans are still going to make excuses for him. I'm done with him. In the replacement of Fallen, Jones, and Taylor, Tommy DeVito steps in and wins the Giants 3 straight games.
Perfect.
Giants fans have hope, and hope he becomes something big in this league.
They get a touchdown off of this play because of Saquon Barkley.
But the Saints stopped that from happening. That's when the Giants lost 24-6 versus the Saints, and that's when Tommy DeVito just fell off a cliff. Then, the week after, Tommy DeVito got whacked the second time, this time with the Giants, as the Giants pull him from the game and put Tyrod back in after his recovery. Tyrod almost led the Giants to a comeback win, but the Giants lost, and they were mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. After the Giants beat the Eagles in their final game of the season, they had a disappointing 6-11 record. Now, the big part of the Jones contract kicks in, which kills the Giants' cap space, and the Giants had 2 big free agents who are well-known guys around the league. Those guys are running back Saquon Barkley and safety Xavier McKinney, who are huge parts of this Giants team. McKinney was basically good as gone. His cap demands were huge. Even though he was near elite safety level at the time, it was just going to be impossible to pay him and Saquon and all the other free agents the Giants didn't need to end up signing. So, McKinney went to Green Bay on a massive contract. Then, the Saquon negotiations kick in, and here's what Joe Schoen had to say to Saquon.
Hello?
Saquon.
Yeah, what's up?
You doing alright?
Yeah, I'm chilling. Just chilling with the family.
You in Jersey right now?
How's the off season been? You doing anything?
Yeah, I've been good. Traveled a little bit, but just starting to get back into the grind of off season trainings.
Yeah. All right, so I just talked to Ed Barry, and I think just mulling over this, the right thing to do is let you test the market and see what your value is. I don't want to do the franchise thing or all that stuff again. I don't want to go through that. We've both been through that. You know, if you really want to be a Giant for life and you're interested in staying here and coming back, just see what your market is and then have Ed come back to us, and we'll see if we can come to an agreement.
All right, I appreciate that.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Here's Mara and Shane's conversation regarding Saquon and where he could end up if he's not back in New York.
I'm going to have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia, I'll tell you that. As I've told you, just being out. I've been around enough players, so, but he's the most popular player we have by far.
Goes from the Giants to the rival Eagles, gets a 3-year, $37.75 million deal, rebuilding that running back market, and more than $12 million.
Are you kidding me? Really? The guy who's been the whole offense and the heart and soul of New York football the past 6 years goes to one of your biggest rivals in Philadelphia. You couldn't pay him. He wanted to stay in New York for that price and even a little less. Stop saying cap space issue, because we definitely had enough after looking at the cap space. But we decided to sign Devin Singletary and John Runyon, who are decent players, don't get me wrong. Even though we needed O-line, we still had money to bring back Saquon, even if we just brought in Runyon. At least we got Brian Burns, who can make this T-line into something. But losing Saquon and McKinney hurts big time. And also, who's going to play the interior D-line since we traded Leonard Williams at the deadline next to Dexter Lawrence? The one bright spot the Giants had of that offseason was the NFL draft. As in round 1, the Giants get stud wide receiver Malik Neighbors out of LSU. In round 2, the Giants get a big piece for their defense and future safety Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota. Then in round 3, another good pick. The Giants take cornerback Andrew Phillips out of Kentucky, who is one of the more underrated corners in the NFL draft. In round 5, the Giants get the guy that ended up replacing Saquon, Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue. Then, before training camp, Darren Waller retired, and the Giants had to go towards their 4th round pick, Theo Johnson. The Giants had low expectations, but a lot of things they could get excited about, with this new rookie class in the D-line, which was really hyped up with Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeaux. But joint practice and training camp starts, and normally, joint practices don't end well, with the Giants and Lions practicing with each other, causing more fights that I could think of. With one of them, after the first joint practice day, where Joe Schoen had to go on the field and break it up. A wild sequence in the Meadowlands. The season's about to start, and the Giants had a lot of ups and downs going on in the preseason, with a bunch of Daniel Jones lowlights, especially versus the Texans. But in week 1, they play the Minnesota Vikings. The Giants are honestly expected to keep this game close, and honestly, possibly win. They're going in week 1 versus the Vikings, like I just said before, in those atrocious red uniforms. Instead, they let Sam Darnold start 14 for 14 and got blown out 28-6 at home in their first game of their 100th season as a franchise, which started the Sam Darnold insanity run for the Vikings, which lasted till week 18 of the NFL season, where they still made the playoffs. Not a bad season for a bridge quarterback on a 1-year deal, huh? In week 2, the Giants are facing the Washington Commanders, and on the opening kickoff, guess what happens? Graham Gano gets hurt running back Austin Eckler on a flag, so the play doesn't count anyway, but Graham Gano is now hurt. So now you have no kicker, but the Giants still managed to score 3 touchdowns. But they end up losing, even though they didn't allow a single touchdown. Yes, you heard me right, they didn't allow a single touchdown. They lost 21-18, all on field goals. Shane Bowen, I know you're a bend don't break guy, but come on. With no Malik Neighbors, the Giants are facing the 3-1 Seattle Seahawks, who just barely lost a hard-fought battle versus the Detroit Lions. The Giants, with no Neighbors, are expected to get blown out, but wait, hold on.
This to tie the game at 20. Here I come. Isaiah Simmons picked up by Bryce Baldwin. It's gonna go.
The Giants stunned the 3-1 Seahawks 29-20, and they improved to 2-3 with the team that looks like a somewhat hope the rest of the season. The Giants are on a 10-game losing streak as they cut Daniel Jones midway through that, who they paid $160 million to. But they are 2-13 and are the front runners for the number 1 pick. They are playing the Indianapolis Colts at home.
Swings it out to Neighbors, 3rd down and 14. And Neighbors picks up the first down into the end zone for a Giants touchdown. not in their DNA. Wide open, first down reception. Slayton still going all the way into the end zone for a Giant. Watt stumbles, now throws, end zone, touchdown. One kickoff is taken out by Smith-Marsette. Still going. Amir Smith-Marsette, New Jersey native, takes it all the way for a Giants touchdown. Very good getting in and out of his breaks. Two set of downs for the Giants. Catch made by Neighbors. He breaks free. Neighbors down the sideline. He's going to take this all the way. 59 yards. His second touchdown today. Block, looking. Block runs to the end zone. Touchdown.
You kidding me? Oh no! All you had to do was lose out. And now we won, and we're not going to have a choice between one of the two QBs? I just give up! The Giants lose their final game of the season to the Eagles, and now they have the number 3 pick in the NFL draft. So here we are. As I'm recording this show, what are the Giants going to do? Are they going to get a vet quarterback like Rodgers or Russell Wilson? Or they're going to trade their assets to get the number 1 pick and still maybe even sign a vet quarterback? We don't know what the story holds. But hopefully, it could end well, as Joe Schoen and Dable era have just not been fun for us so far. Maybe that will change. Who knows? Thanks for watching, and goodbye, everyone.